All right, guys, welcome to the Splitting Twigs podcast. Today we are here with Ben Gaudreau. I really hope I said that right. I think I did. And he has proven to be the number one goalie in 18. Sorry, I messed that up. I'm sorry. That's my bad. Uh,
I'm Ollie Mcneil. I just joined the Junior Coyotes here in Arizona, so this will be my first season, and I'm a goalie as well. So
Yeah, we kind of wanted to bring Ollie on to introduce him to a goalie who's had a lot of success, who's going to play in the NHL to kind of give him some motivation leading forward into his oncoming season. So without further ado, here's Ben. Hey,
Thanks.
Ben, how are you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. You?
Oh, I'm doing
Okay.
real. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties right now. There we go. All right, perfect. There we go. Now we're set up. Sorry, we have to kind of get everything geared up, and this isn't our normal producer, so kind of things go wrong sometimes. Yeah. Oh, speaking of Sandra,
oh,
she said hi to you.
hi.
Okay, so to get right into this, when did you start hockey, and like how did you get into hockey?
Yeah. So my parents kind of put me in hockey when I was young, probably around 3, 4. I started off as a player. I think I was a player till I was 5, and I switched over to goalie, and I just kept up with it.
That's amazing. And did you play a high level of hockey your entire life?
Yeah. I think from day one I was always playing the highest level that I could at my age. But yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it's definitely kind of hard to play at the highest level, so that's amazing. And I think it really playing at the high level, I think it's really important to be like younger, to be able to like start younger. That way you have those key years of learning how to play. I think that plays a huge role into it because all the kids you hear about who played AAA their entire youth hockey career going up all started when they were 4, 5, 6 years old. So you don't really hear about those older kids playing AAA, maybe not their whole or youth career, but maybe sometimes. Because but there are those rare cases like Austin Matthews when he only played 1 year of AAA, and that was when I think he was a second year 18U. Besides that, he was always just a top player in AA because he succeeded. Like he would have been like my coach kind of explained it to me. He said he would have been like an above average AAA player, but he would be an all-star as a AA player. So they kind of left him at AA to let him succeed and get more comfortable with his gameplay, and then put him in AAA when he was an 18U, and that really skyrocketed his career. Obviously, he's a leading player in the NHL right now, so I definitely helped.
No, 100%. I agree with that for sure.
Oh yeah. So I heard that you won the gold medal. How was that, and what was that like?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. We had a really good group of guys, so it was a lot of fun. Had hard competition the whole tournament, so yeah, it was an awesome time. Couldn't have dreamed of it any better. It was an awesome time. We had a great group of guys, so yeah.
So how did you calm your nerves to play in such a big game to perform well? Because sometimes, like even in little things, I choke a lot because I get too nervous. So in a game that's riding that much, like representing your country, making it all the way, what did it feel like?
Yeah,
Or like not?
I think for me, I've always had a sports psychologist that I've worked with, and I've always kind of had like reset routines and everything that kind of bring me back to even and allow me just to play my game, not worry about the outside noise.
Yeah, that's what so we had a podcast today, and that's exactly what he was talking about as well. Jean-Luc Grandpierre was you see all these people who play at super high levels and they're not worried about the outside noise. They're worried about their gameplay and what's going on. So like say a star player gets benched, they're not worried about themselves getting benched. They're worried about what they can do to get back onto the ice. And you don't like he said that's the difference between the kids who age out at major juniors and the kids who get drafted at after major juniors is just being able to not worry about that outside noise. And that's actually the exact words he used too.
No, that's exactly. I agree with that 110%.
Yeah, like I was saying, that's definitely an important part of the game.
That was obviously, as you know, a really big game. How is there anything mentally you do different compared to normal games when you're in those big situations?
I mean, there is, and there isn't. I mean, I think just as a kind of a guy, you kind of get fired up for those games, no matter what. So I think getting into them, you're a little bit more fired up. So maybe you do take a little bit higher of an intensity, just based on your mental state. But I wouldn't say going into it, I'm trying to do too much. I'm trying to keep it the same and just go into it and try to play my game.
As a goalie, you hear about, especially as a goalie and even playing at higher levels, you hear about a lot of these people's superstitions before games. Do you have any particular superstitions that you do before games or big games?
Yeah, I mean, I got a pretty dialed in warm up. So I kind of do the same exercises, use the kind of like the bouncing balls and all those, and make sure I'm stretching and visualizing and all that kind of stuff pregame.
And do you find visualizing and mental stuff like that just as important as stretching and using the balls on the wall like before the game?
Yeah, 100%. I think for me, visualizing and all that mental stuff is even more important. I think it really kind of brings me to center with the game and just kind of lets me play my game and not worry about too many little things.
Yeah, and that obviously seemed to help you a lot bringing home the gold.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we have a question from Will Clark for Ollie. Question for Ollie. What are your pregame rituals, Ollie?
Usually before a game, I try to get to the ice a little bit early, juggle, and then when I'm getting ready, put in my earbuds, and I have the same album I listen to before every game. I try to get out of the locker a little quicker than everyone else just so I can either look at the newly cut ice and just think or sit there and tune out to my music.
I think that's definitely important. I mean, you see like all these guys. I mean, even in the NHL, what is Alexander Ovechkin? I know he's not a goalie, but he like has a ritual where he'll like bless the ice with a couple sprays of Gatorade onto the ice before a game and stuff like that. So you see like all these high end players have like very strict rituals. Like obviously that one's not like the biggest one, but that's one of the only ones I can remember off the top of my head. But you hear other ones like that are super, super strict. And it's crazy how they can follow that every single game, especially in the NHL when you're playing a game, flying to another state, playing another game, and doing that multiple times a week or even a weekend, you know. So, going into the NHL, getting drafted, because I think your draft year is coming up this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Like, do you think that you're going to be mentally prepared for all the traveling that you're going to do around the country?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, from a young age, I've been doing a lot of traveling. My minor hockey growing up, I think the closest game was 2 hours. So no matter what, I was driving at a young age and played a lot of tournaments at least 4 hours away. So I've always been driving, kind of going around the country and stuff like that, and into other countries. So kind of getting into it, it'll just be hopefully kind of hitting home.
Yeah. And then also, are you excited because most NHL teams have planes, so you don't have to drive around anymore? Are you excited to be able to fly everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big plane guy. I got like my ears pop quite a bit, so I'll have to get a little bit adjusted to it, but it'll be nice making road trips and stuff a little bit quicker.
And then we have questions for you, Ben. What goalies do you look up to, and what are some of your favorites?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's just Vasilevsky and Carey Price, looking up to them and just trying to model my game after them. The two of them really kind of have two different styles that really fit well together, and looking up to them, it's just kind of a good match.
Yeah, that's definitely important. Going back into talking about the gold medal tournament that you won, which team do you think like was the hardest to beat? If that makes sense.
For sure. With us, it was definitely Russia in the finals. Other than that, we basically kind of slid right through the pre-tournament and then the quarters and semis. And I think our first real challenge was against Russia in the finals.
And you had Connor Bedard on your team, right?
Yeah.
What was it like playing against a kid like that who, I mean, you see all these YouTube videos and stuff like that, and that kid's just absolutely insane, especially for his young age.
No, he's awesome. He's a great guy off the ice as well. And he's sick, especially offensively. He's probably one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah. Do you think that he'll be a top player in the NHL?
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind. He'll be up there, and I think his draft is 2023. He'll be playing in 2023, 2024 season. So he's pretty special.
He's 16, right?
15 right now. I think he's turning 16 this year.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine playing in a tournament like that. And how old are you?
I'm 18 right now. I'm turning 19 in January.
Yeah, being 15 playing with 18-year-olds in a world tournament, like that must be very mentally hard to prepare for something like that, especially like physically, because you see all like the body checking and everything. And so that must be scary. I mean, these people have 3 years on you and probably 100 pounds on you. That would be scary. And then I know we were kind of talking a little bit before the show, but what team would you absolutely want to play for when you got drafted, if you like were able to choose?
Yeah, I mean, obviously any team would be good, and I couldn't be not happy with a team. But I think if I had to pick one, Tampa would be a pretty cool place to play. I've heard great things about the city, and just being from around there, I've heard it's unreal. So it'd be a fun time for sure. But yeah.
And do you live in Canada right now?
Yeah, I'm in Canada. I'm in North Bay right now.
Yeah. So do you think that living, like, say you get picked by like the Arizona Coyotes, so you'd be in Arizona, do you think it's going to be hard to get going from all the cold weather to all the hot weather if you get picked by somewhere like that?
Yes and no. I mean, it's a little bit of an adjustment, but give it a week or so and you kind of get into it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So we have another question from you, Ben. How did you prep for the IIHF tourney and not playing for a year?
Yeah, for me, it was just a lot of gym stuff. Sorry. I was in the gym quite a bit. I was trying to get on the ice as much as possible. But yeah, I was just really trying to prepare and be ready for whatever came next.
Were you nervous to play after playing for or not playing for such a long time?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't really know what I was going to be able to do. So going up to my first game was pretty nerve-wracking, and it carried through for a little bit of the tournament until I kind of gained my confidence back, and I started to kind of run away with it.
Were you at any point like super nervous sorry, I worded that wrong. Did you think that you were going to win the gold, or did you think, like, what did you think going into it?
Yeah, I mean, you never really know. It's always something that's kind of in your mind. But yeah, I mean, it was going in tournament. I thought we could do it, and we pulled it out. But yeah, I'm just gonna get a charger here, guys. My phone's
Oh yeah, no worries.
so I'm gonna try to grab one here. Run inside here real quick.
No worries.
Be right back.
Improv dance. All right. Well, let's.
Oh, I just gotta find a plug in here.
Okay, no worries.
We're running tight on plugins here. All right. Let's see what we can do here. That's a light. It's off for sure. Here we go.
Did you find one?
I found one.
Let's go. Woo.
There we go. Locked in and ready to go. Awesome.
So as a goalie, I hear a lot of stories about, well, not stories, but like it's typical for goalies to talk amongst their defense about like what they want to do. And every goalie is different and like in the ways that they ask their goalies or their defense to act. Like we were talking about how Dominic Hasek would tell his defensemen not to lay down and block shots because he wanted to stop him. That's what they were getting paid for. So what do you tell your defense?
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a few conversations, and it's just about if you're gonna stand in front of the puck, like this is a big one for me. If you're gonna stand in front of it, you might as well block it. So for me, if they're gonna stand in front of it and try to jump out of the way or something like that, I'll let them know that I don't like that. I always try to communicate with them when I'm going to play the puck and stuff like that. But or even when they're getting pucks in the corner, I'm always trying to communicate to them and make their job a little easier.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I remember one time, I always jump in front of the pucks to try and hit them. And then there was one time I jumped in front of the puck and I literally stood right in front of it. And I don't know how this kid snuck it past me. Like I jumped up like this and he put it through like right there. Like it was the luckiest shot of his life. And I felt so bad, but luckily Ollie saved it.
I don't remember this.
Well, so you don't. You think a lot about everything for games. You taking 50 shots and only letting one in.
Here you go.
All right.
1 second. Okay, sorry. I had to tell him to look at the camera because if he looks over at the monitor, we have to look at it. Then it kind of looks like he's just staring off into space. You know, squirrel. You know. Oh.
What do you feel is a key part of your success?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, my mental game is pretty big. So I've always really found a way to fall back on that and just try to always find myself and find my confidence through using visualizations and stuff like that. That always kind of keep me going.
Do you do mental exercises in the morning? Like, I talked to I forgot what they're called. A mental coach, and they told you to visualize in the morning when you wake up and go into bed and before hockey and everything. Do you do it like on a constant and consistent basis?
Not on like the daily per se, but on game days or days leading up to games, I really dial it in on that kind of stuff and just try to focus on that upcoming game. But yeah.
And we were talking today with Jean-Luc Grandpierre, and he was talking about how it's important for kids playing sports and growing up in sports to play multiple sports at a time, whether you're playing hockey and baseball or hockey and golf or something like that. He said that that's important. Did you grow up playing multiple sports?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only ones I really played were hockey. I played soccer a little bit, tennis, volleyball, basketball, but I think once I got to high school, where I'm from, they don't let AAA guys play any high school sports or anything like that. So I was done doing that kind of stuff once I got to high school.
And we have a question here from Will Clark. Question for both Ben and Ollie. What are your game day routines as far as meals and day-to-day routines?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first here, I guess. You know what? For me, it's just wake up, try to get a quick shower in, get a nap. Try not to eat too much in the morning, and if it's a 7 o'clock game, I'm eating around 3. And I'll just throw some pasta and chicken back. But yeah, and then I try to get to the rink an hour and a half, 2 hours before the game, and try to dial it in once I get there.
Yeah, I usually try to wake up, eat the same. If I know I have a game the next day, I try to eat the same thing that morning. Usually it's a bowl of Cocoa Puffs. But I usually do that, just try to keep the game in the back of my head and not really worry about other things going on. And then when it's time for the get ready for the game, I'll just kind of shut everything out and just think, okay, this is the task ahead. This is what I want to do for it.
This is kind of an off-topic question, but what is your favorite kind of pasta? Because I really like fettuccine alfredo with chicken in it. That's my favorite to eat before games. What's your go-to?
I'm a penne with red tomato sauce or meat sauce, and then a grilled chicken breast with it.
Yeah, I like chicken alfredo with white sauce. I don't like red sauce, but I absolutely love white sauce. It's so good.
I've got one little question real quick. Who has been your biggest mentor throughout your time playing hockey?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, Kenny Appleby, he's always been a guy who's kind of in my corner. since I was pretty young. He's always been there. He's a pro goalie actually playing right now on the taxi squad for the Islanders. So I've always had him to lean on. I train with him quite a bit, and the two of us bounce back ideas and stuff like that. And we're pretty close. So it's kind of always been somebody that I've been able to look up to and share a good relationship with.
So we were talking today with Jean-Luc Grandpierre, and William said the best Zamboni driver was the one who jumped in as goalie and won an NHL game when they were missing their goalie. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty awesome for him to get the chance to do that and just go have fun with it. That's what he did. And I think that's pretty awesome to get to see. You don't get to see that every day. And for him to have that chance and opportunity and just go out there and have fun with it was pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine just being like a Zamboni driver, like whatever, used to play hockey, and they're like, yeah, we need somebody to play goalie. You want to do it? It's sure. And I mean, just having that opportunity is amazing, let alone to win the game. I mean, for real, he's just a Zamboni driver. I mean, what does that say about the other team?
Yeah. I always hear that story, and then I love the one in Arizona about that guy that worked at the bank that got called by his dad to come down to the rink and bring his gear with him just out of the blue.
Funny.
Biggest game of your life as a goalie, do you put it behind you after you let in a goal? Like, so, like, say you were playing in that gold medal game and they scored on you. What do you do to kind of put that past you? Or do you put that past you, or do you use that as motivation?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like I was talking about before with the mental kind of side of the game. You just got to learn to forget about it, move on to the next save, just really focus on making that next save. You can't let it kind of dwell on you. The second you start dwelling on that, the next one goes in, right? So,
Yeah.
On to the next shot and making that save.
And then also, because you hear a lot of goalies, they use like they're really good on their glove side or they're really good on your blocker side. Which one do you think is the most dominating side?
Yeah, I mean, I worked pretty hard on my hands this summer, so I'd say they're pretty even right now. But last year for sure, my blocker hand was definitely more dominant. I had a lot of trouble with my glove hand, but I worked on that quite a bit this summer, and it's come a long way. And yeah.
And then also, I have a question about this. So you hear one of the big key points when they're scouting for goalies to get drafted and based on their rankings in the NHL draft, they talk about rebound control. What do you do to do rebound control? And also, how hard is it? Because you have to be able to like angle the shot into the corner and stuff. And I think it's really cool for goalies who could do that consistently.
No, for sure. It's definitely pretty hard. You got to kind of learn from a young age how to angle your pads, how to angle your stick, how to angle your blocker, to be able to catch pucks off your chest, and just try to make sure everything kind of stays with you. So obviously you're going to have the one that pops out. That's when you get to kind of use your reflexes and show what you can do. I mean, for me, again, something I worked on nonstop this summer was just body saves and making those saves kind of easier than they were a year ago.
And then we have, sorry.
If you could go back in time and tell yourself something, what would it be?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I didn't realize how important practices really were when I was in minor hockey. So I didn't really learn that until the OHL, and I wish I could have kind of taken advantage of the practices when I was a little bit younger and maybe found a little bit more development going through those stages.
Then we have a question from Dylan. He actually plays on my GSHL team. He's a really good kid. Who has the scariest shot in the OHL? So whose shot actually makes you like scared to stop? Because I know that like when you get into those high levels, they're shooting the puck 70, 80 miles an hour. So obviously you're gonna get bruised up from taking those shots either way. But who do you think has the scariest shot?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident, so I don't get too scared when I'm facing shots to try to make the save. But last year, one of the guys on Flint, Ty Delandria, hit me in like the side of the rib cage, and my whole rib cage was bruised for like the next week. So that's kind of one of the better shots in the league, I'd say. But yeah.
And then are you so you're going into the NHL when you have a lot of people who are of older ages who can absolutely fire a puck. Are you scared to get shots taken from like one-timers from Ovechkin? I know he's famous for those. And I mean even Chara shooting a puck 111 miles an hour.
No, I mean, I think that's pretty exciting at the end of the day. I mean, it's something's kind of cool. You're gonna be able to say, "Oh, I either got scored on from Ovechkin or I made a save," right? So it'd be cool to kind of either have to say one of those. At the end of the day, you're playing with the best in the world, and you just got to kind of adjust to it and show off what you can do.
When you get drafted, I want to watch the first game against when you guys, whatever team you play for, I want to watch the first game you play against Connor McDavid, and I want to watch you shut him down.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So we have a question from Mission 77, Dylan Farber. He said, "What number are you and why?" So is there a meaning behind the number that you use?
Yeah, so number 70. When I was younger, I watched like a Holtby like fire me up video or whatever they call it in there, pump up videos. I thought it was sick, and I wore 31 my whole life. So I said, you know what, it's time for a change. And I went to a spring hockey camp or a spring hockey tournament. I wore 70, and then I came back and played my last 3 years of minor hockey with 70 and had some pretty good years with that number. So I just kept it going once I got to the OHL.
And did you? Oh, sorry.
What advice would you give to someone like me that's 13, 14 to help improve their game?
Yeah, I mean, I think this goes back to what I'd kind of tell my younger self is just work hard and practice. That's the biggest thing. If you have good practices and you set your practices up the way you kind of want and focus on what you got to focus on, big things come from that. And right from there, you can grow. And yeah, I mean, that's just the end of the day. You work hard in practice, it's going to show up in games.
We have a question from Will Clark. I don't know who this weirdo is who keeps asking all these questions. I'm just kidding. It's my stepdad. That's why I said that. What was it like beating the all-star like Michkov from Russia?
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty unreal. Again, just another unreal player. So when it gets into a big tournament like that, as much as I try not to focus on those guys like Michkov and stuff like that, they always pop up in the back of your mind. So it's pretty big. It was awesome just getting to play him and getting to play some other all-stars.
So do you think it's important trying not to focus on those players because you obviously have those top end players who, I mean, can make goalies like Vasilevsky or Darcy Kemper look like peewee goalies who can't drop into a butterfly, and is it kind of scary going up against those guys knowing like they can just do some unreal moves at such high speeds like carelessly?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little nerve-wracking. But again, I just try to kind of focus on my game and stay confident in my kind of game. The second you kind of start overthinking it and getting nervous, that's when things start going wrong. So I mean, it's just about kind of having a good confidence level and just going in and trying to make that save no matter what, and just using your confidence to kind of go through with it.
And then, what do you think the hardest shot to save is? Because you see, like Austin Matthews, he uses the shot where he pulls it back, brings it close to his body, and then shoots it to bait the goalie into going to one side or the other, and then shoots it wherever the goalie didn't go. Or like if he went to the left side, he shoots it to the right side after pulling it back to kind of fake it. So, like, do you think that shot's the hardest, or do you think that there's other shots that are really hard to save?
Yeah, I mean, that's a real hard one. I'd probably say that is the hardest to stop. When a guy can kind of change the angle like that and shoot it the way he does, it's something else, and it's hard to stop. So definitely have to say him for sure.
And then, what is your best memory so far from your OHL days with the boys?
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of good ones. We had a really good group of guys in Sarnia. So whether it just be after my first game, we got the W, going out to eat with the guys. We went fishing for team bonding, so that was pretty fun. Movie nights, sushi nights. We just had a lot of good fun, and it was nonstop.
I've got one question. Was last year on your team, was there a player that you would see come out on the ice and go, "Oh yes, I can take a little breather"? Someone that you would see come out and know, "Okay, I can sit back a little more and have this person help me more."
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple good defensemen that when they came out, for me, it wasn't about having to kind of protect myself and stuff like that. Like we weren't the best team. We didn't really handle stuff on our end too well. So a big thing was kind of getting run over and stuff like that from the other team or getting slashed. But we had some guys that really protected me and kind of held out my ground for me and just let me play my game. So I think I never really sit back when anybody's out there. Like I could have Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar out in front of me, and I'm still gonna make sure that I'm really on my toes and just never know, right? Nobody's perfect, so they could mess up, and next thing you know, it's in the back of your net. So I think for me, it was always just staying really focused on the puck and not really worrying too much about who's out.
Yeah, and Quinn Hughes, man, I think he's definitely the better brother out of Jack and Quinn Hughes. I'm not dogging on Jack. I mean, he's a really, really top end player. I mean, nobody makes it to the NHL unless they're really, really good. But I do feel like he was kind of a little bit overhyped in a sense, if that makes sense. Like everybody said he was going to be the next generational player, and then he turned out to be a top end player in the NHL, but he's just not that generational player. And I think Quinn Hughes was a little underhyped for his production that he's done. I think he's definitely a really, really good player in the NHL.
Yeah, no, I think they're both pretty good, and I mean, I'm sure they could score on me, so I can't say too much about them.
Okay, we have another question from William Clark. What was the first thing you did when you came to the IME from the I can't read. Oh, from the IIHF tourney. And I saw today you gave away a stick and puck to a young kid that speaks a lot about you, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, one of the first things I did once I kind of got back is we have quarantine up here in Canada, so I had to quarantine for 2 weeks. So I just got out of that yesterday, and I just kind of hung out with one of my buddies and just tried to relax and kind of celebrate with him. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been able to do too much yet, but yeah, it's been a good 2 weeks, and I'm happy the quarantine's over. Sadly, we're on a provincial lockdown, so there's not much to do right now, but yeah.
So, how did you keep yourself sane when you were in quarantine? Because I played a lot of Rocket League and watched The Big Bang Theory when I had COVID. So, what did you do to kind of keep yourself sane and in shape? Because I ran a mile on a treadmill and did like little workouts in my room as best as I could, but that's really it.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, little workouts in your room is about all I could do. So I tried doing that. We just got a puppy, so I'd go outside. We got a pretty big yard and throw a stick around with him and play around with him. It was something that I could kind of do and take advantage of. So I was trying to get out and just do whatever I could to stay in shape.
Yeah, that's definitely important.
I'm all out of questions.
Oh, Ollie's all out of questions. He doesn't
Yeah.
know what to do anymore. All right, Ollie, leave.
all out.
Leave. We
All
don't
right.
need you here. No, I'm just kidding. Do you play video games? I know obviously as a top end athlete, that's not your main focus, but like if you are bored in a weekend, you don't really have any hockey or anything to do you just sit back and play some games?
Yeah, for sure. I played a lot during quarantine, so I probably won't play for another month or so. But yeah, I mean, I play a lot of NHL and MLB and like the golf and all the sports kind of things. So that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't play any Rocket League or Call of Duty or anything?
No, I'm not good at those games. I mean, I'm barely even half decent at the sports games, but at least I can kind of have a good mindset to it. So that's about it, though.
Throw it on rookie mode and score 50 goals, you feel amazing.
To add on to this video game talk, when I play NHL, I never like how they do the goaltending. I think it's just when you try to take control of a goaltender, it's just terrible. What do you think about their goaltending?
No, I agree for sure.
Yeah, and then going back on video games, man, you gotta try and practice some Rocket League. Rocket League is so much fun, and you could be a really good goalie at Rocket League. Because I'm not gonna brag or anything, but I'm pretty cracked at goalie in Rocket League.
Right. Here's a question from Ryan McNeil, some weirdo that's not my dad. Ben, what kind of goalie dad is your dad? Is he the pacer that stretches the entire game?
Ryan.
He's pretty laid back and quiet. When I was in minor hockey, you just go sit up in the highest spot, watch my game, and keep track of my shots and stuff on his iPad. He doesn't stress too much at all. He's pretty laid back when it comes to that stuff.
So, this is kind of off topic from what we were talking about, but you so I know a goalie and he could shoot the puck like really hard. Like I always joke with him and say, "Wow, you can shoot the puck better than I can with a goalie stick." Do you have a decent shot with a goalie stick? Because I mean, this kid can launch the puck.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I wouldn't say it's the best out there, but no, I can shoot the puck a little bit. I mean, we always kind of have fun and do that, right? So it's something we don't work on all the time, but it's definitely fun to kind of get out and do it a little bit.
Yeah. What would you do if like there's an empty netter and you just launch the puck across the ice and you actually score it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably have a pretty hard sally going and maybe a little flyby of the bench, but yeah, that's all.
I mean, or if you did it in the cello just to make it even better. That would be so sick. We have another question from Mission 77. Last question. Is there any team that you would hope to be on in the NHL in the future? I don't think he was here when we asked this up.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of said Tampa earlier, but at the end of the day, yeah, anything for me would be an awesome team to be on. Doesn't matter if they're last place or first place, you're still playing the game you love for basically your job. So any team's good for me.
I like that answer because, like, you see a lot of people nowadays playing for all the wrong reasons. It's good to know that there's still a lot of people in this game. From most of the people I've seen, obviously there's still those bad eggs, but most people I've seen are really, really good people. And it's nice to know that the hockey sport is just such a humble sport, you know?
No, I agree.
Because, like, you see all these top end players like giving their sticks away and stuff like that. Like Darcy Kemper would always throw his stick over to a little kid. I remember he got one of the 3 stars one of the nights I went to a game, and he threw it to like a little kid who was like 3 years old. And it's just really cool knowing that like all these really amazing athletes still are humble and still remember where they come from.
No, 100%. That's part of being that top end athlete is knowing where you came from and giving a stick. I mean, if I'm 3 years old at an NHL game and I get a stick, I'm gonna be pretty happy, right? So it's just about doing that and keeping kind of grounded and having kind of sharing your experiences with other people.
Exactly. And like even giving those sticks away to those little kids, I mean, that could even motivate them to play hockey and maybe be the next great hockey player, you know? And just because of that one act of kindness, you could have another Connor McDavid in the NHL in 10 years, 15 years, you know? So we have another question from the Splitting Twigs crew. I don't know who that is. Oh, sorry. Most goalies have personal meanings on their helmets. So what do you have on yours and what does it mean? This can be for both Ben and Ollie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much that's too meaningful. My kind of meaningful spot for me is on the back of my helmet. So I have I got this like thing at the military place where I'm actually from on my back of my helmet, in my little small town of Corbeil. So the cenotaph kind of plaque is on the back of my helmet. And then my dad's best friend, he passed away, I want to say about 5 or 6 years ago. He was pretty close with me. So I kind of put a little F4W, which means fight for Wayne. So I've had that on my helmet, my sticks since the day he started kind of struggling with cancer. It's been something that I've always had on my helmet.
Nice. Yeah, cancer's a beast. Yeah, my grandma passed away in August from cancer.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry for your loss.
It's okay.
On my helmet on the top, I have a Demogorgon from one of my favorite shows, Stranger Things. And then on this one side, I have the LGBTQ pride flag. And on the other side, I have just a bunch of little quotes. I have Grant Fear's jersey on there. Just this year with all the crazy things happening, my team was just really had some messed up things to say. It was just so bad. I couldn't stand having my team logo on there anymore. So we sent it back up to the painter and she was able to get rid of it and put something so I could show how I feel and put my voice into the world about how I feel about those issues.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it definitely takes a lot of mental strength to be able to do something like that. and let alone to be able to put it on a sport with kids who can be really harsh in this sport with a lot of the hazing going on, and that you're still strong enough to do that. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I heard that you made the Junior Coyotes when you were talking today.
Yep.
You want to announce that to the world?
Sure. I played for Mission, Arizona before, and this year I tried out at the Junior Coyotes AA team, and I got an offer from there. So I'm officially a Junior Coyote.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Nope. Nope. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I forget what all the ones were. I thought that was the wrong one. I'm sorry. That's my bad. I'm sorry about that one.
That's good. I was actually wondering what those buttons did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They play little noise things. I'm retiring from podcasts after this one. Yeah. Sorry. God. Yeah, I'm sorry about that one.
All right. Here's one more from the Splitting Twigs crew. Have you ever landed yourself in the penalty box? And if so, why?
Last year, I had 2 penalties. Both calls don't agree with whatsoever. The first one was actually my birthday. We had a game in Hamilton. I was sitting on the post at my butterfly. Puck just went to the corner, so I kind of recovered there. And a guy skated right through my crease and tripped on my stick, and they called it tripping. The other one was a breakaway, and I slid back in my long body, and the guy just kind of hit my pad and fell. And another tripping on that one. But yeah, both I didn't really agree with, but those were 2 from last year. But I've actually gotten quite a few penalties, to be completely honest. I got a delay game before. I think a tripping again. And then I got a 5 for punching a kid in the head with a blocker when I was in Adam, I think. So I've found myself in the penalty box quite a bit.
When you're a goalie and you get a penalty, it's a player that serves it for you, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, if it's like a really serious penalty and there's a second goalie, don't you serve it?
I don't think so. I think it's a player until you're suspended, and then you gotta get out of the game. So
I was just making sure because typically you see players do it, especially if you put a goalie in the penalty box and you don't have another goalie, it's kind of messed up. Have a little player in there with a little stick trying to stop all the pucks. Yeah, I do that at stick times, and I stop most of the pucks, but like I stick my leg out real quick, and then I'm like, oh wait, there's not a pad there, so it always goes in right underneath like my groin area. I'm like, dang nabbit, because I can't. There's nothing I can really do when I have a little shin guard on that isn't like 3 or like 6 or 7 inches long.
Oh,
no. Nothing I can do.
I am the king of roughing penalties, probably, like this comment says.
I never see you as the type of person to like actually rough with anybody, but like when you see Ollie in a game, you would 100% see him as the type of goalie to fight somebody. Like,
oh yeah,
Ollie's the type of goalie to fight the other goalie.
Yeah, if you come anywhere near my crease, I can promise you a grave.
Oh yeah, it's funny. The best part is when I think it's funny when like our goalie does it to another player, but I hate it when goalies do it to me. But like when they'll hit the back of your ankles or pick at your ankles with the stick, that's so annoying. But it's so funny when your goalie's doing it to somebody else. I find it so amusing. Or what? Oh, and then so we had another goalie on our team, and so when Ollie was on the bench and like the goalie was close to him, he would taunt the goalie, and it was so funny. Hey, goalie. He'll be like, "What's your favorite color?" Sometimes they even respond. It's so funny.
I'll just sit there and try to be obnoxious as I can, like whatever I can do.
It's so funny. Even if we're losing, he'll be like if it's like 7-1 and we score 1, he's like, "What are you doing? Why'd you let that go in?" It's so funny. Yeah, our team was really bad about taunting, but it was so much fun to taunt other people. I personally don't go into that too much just because I can't really back it up. Well, like physically I can, but like I kind of suck. So
You can't back that up. You can't check whatsoever.
Exactly. The last time I tried to check, I broke my leg. that was because a kid jumped out of the way. That wasn't my fault. You should have taken the hit.
You told me you were gonna kill someone there, and then you broke your leg.
Ollie, stop adding me to this game. We're never bringing you back. No more chase story. Bro, I remembered the Golds League. I was so good in Golds League until I broke my leg. I haven't been the same since I broke my leg. I'm looking at you.
I know.
Oh, I found it. Every time it goes silent, that's what I'm gonna do. I kind of like these little buttons because I mean we have so many of them. Some of them like one of them came with it, but like we have the Joker.
And here we go.
And it's also cool because I feel so professional.
To get Chase back on track here, who do you think will win the Stanley Cup this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of between two teams, but I think Colorado's going to really be able to pull it off. They got a lot of firepower. Grubauer is playing pretty sick, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of between them and Tampa, to be honest. So I think Tampa won it last year. It's time to go with someone new. So I think Colorado has a great chance of doing it, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We have a question from Infamous Hockey. Who was your funniest teammate on Team Canada?
Chase Stillman for sure. He's a funny guy. Yeah, he's one of the funniest guys I know. So him and Mason McTavish together, those two guys were unreal. They were pretty funny.
Yeah, I think it's important to have a good sense of humor playing at that level because, like, obviously you have that professional aspect of the game, but because when hockey becomes a job, it's not like it can become a job, but it should be fun as a job. Like I think there was a quote and it says, "You never work a day in your life if you do a job that you truly love." And so I think that it's important to have the professional aspect of sports and not be like an idiot playing hockey, but it's also important not to treat it like a desk job, like you have to have some fun with hockey,
No, I agree for sure.
like I'm saying, like there's a point not to cross, but then there's a point like where you gotta kind of loosen up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
I'm all out of questions again.
Come on, bro. You should have. Next time you got to bring more questions.
All right. Here's one from Splitting Twigs. When you're on the road, what do you do at this level to keep yourself entertained in the hotels and on the road?
Yeah, I mean,
Producer.
I listen to movies or listen to music, watch movies. We hang out with the guys quite a bit. Obviously, we got roommates and stuff like that when we're on the road. So there's always something to kind of keep you in tune. And yeah, I mean, I take a lot of naps too and just try to kind of pass time on the bus.
Yeah, you hear about those hockey TikToks about different stereotypes on the bus: the A+ student, the sleeper, the snacker, the gamer who has that, the little like pack thing that has like a mini TV in it and you can hook your PS4 in it. And you saw that guy on the bus too, and it's so funny because it's so true. You have so many different types of players. You have the ones who are studying and everything like that, and yeah, I think school is definitely big. Were you a really good student when you were in high school?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in my last year here, so battling through the last course right now. It's something that my parents have always kind of preached, because you never know if the NHL is going to work out, right? You got to have a backup plan, and that's something I've kind of been instilled in me from my parents since I kind of started playing hockey and thought about going to the NHL.
So now that you actually know that you're going to make it to the NHL, after the NHL, after a long and beautiful career, what do you think that you want to do after?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it all works out, but I've always dreamed about being an agent, a scout, or something like that. So if I were to have an NHL career, it'll really help me kind of get into something like that.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, those people are definitely very important. I mean, especially the teams, rebuilding teams, making teams great and stuff like that. So that's definitely a very important part of hockey because like a lot of people don't realize, but behind the scenes is just as important as the players who are scoring goals. I mean, you have the coaches, the general managers, the owners of the team. Every single piece of the puzzle has to fit and make it work, you know?
No, 100%.
So we have another question from this weirdo Will. Ben, you are the top goalie in the world. What advice do you have for these two young players who are dreaming of taking the route you have?
Yeah, I mean, just work hard, have fun with it, and make sure that you really enjoy it. Like if it's not something you enjoy, there's a very good chance you're not going to end up making that route. So, yeah, I mean, Chase, you got to cut your hair. That's number one. But yeah, you know what? It's to work hard for and keep pushing.
They always say that. I don't know why. What you notice is that the older generations are always the one who tell the younger generation to cut their hair. But then when they're around their friends or their girlfriends, they're always saying, "Oh yeah, I love your hair" and stuff like that. But it's always the old people who don't like your hair. If you know this. You notice the younger generation seems to have the flow, and the older people are just jealous because they don't have any hair. Oh,
The thing that made that comment even better was that it was your stepdad that said that.
I know.
Like, that's
I
just
know.
the best part.
Oh, it's funny. Sorry, my mom's over here laughing her butt off. Her laugh is so loud. It's so funny. See, no, she's flipping me off. Oh no, is that? So I go to clinics with a guy named Boris Desenko, and every single time I get onto the ice, he says after I'm doing a drill, he kind of checks everybody when they're doing the drill, and he comes over to me and he says the first thing you need to do is cut your hair. Then this is how you fix the drill. Except he's from where's he from? He's Ukraine, I think. So he has that type of accent, that like accent, and so it's so funny when he says he's like cut your hair. So
That's
funny.
fun.
Yeah, I love people with those accents. I think it's so funny. Like well, not funny, but like I think it's really cool. You know, it's like just the different ways people speak English and stuff. Because I was like, why is English the hardest language to learn? And then Austin Eakin actually explained it to me. He said, because we have like there, and there, and night and stuff like that, and where. So it's kind of like, it's kind of hard to understand and like know how to use every word in different situations. Because like there's there are for they are, stuff like that. It's just crazy. And then we have another question from the Splitting Twigs. Who was the biggest influence in your success and career? This is for Chase, Ben, and Ollie to answer.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was definitely my parents. Things that they do for me and sacrifices they make for me. I couldn't have done half of what I've done. So, them for sure.
I don't think I have one biggest influence. I have to say I have learned a lot from a lot of different people, and I usually take everything I learn and adapt it to my style of play and clump it all together. So I don't have one biggest influence.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a lot of, obviously, your family. They play a huge role. That's something that's just, I mean, every family, for somebody to succeed, has to have somebody, support system with it. But I also think that it's really important with the coaches you have. I think that the coach's influence really plays a huge role, because if you have one really good coach who really helps you, then you're obviously going to want to push harder for that coach to succeed. And I think that's something that coaches should do a little bit more often, is showing appreciation towards every single player, because that pushes your team to want to play better for you, because they feel like they have a purpose on your team. Whereas if you're always bagging, I mean, obviously you're going to have to use negative feedback to also, because I mean, everything can't be positive, but everything can't be negative at the same time. There has to be a balance with it, and that's the most important thing to having a good team, because you have to know what you're doing wrong to do things right, but you can't think that you're doing everything wrong, because to succeed, you really have to be willing to put sacrifices forth for your team, because you trust your coaches and trust that you have a position on the team, but you also have to be willing to do that at the same time and willing to make the changes to do that.
No, 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know why I said yeah 3 times, but it's fine. This was one of our better podcasts. It was fun. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Oh, no problem. It was awesome to be
Okay.
on. Great time.
So we have one more coach. Ben, how do you feel about the
So again, this is that weird Ryan McNeil guy. Ben, how do you feel about the importance of puck handling as a goalie?
Yeah, and it's really important. You got to be able to go out there, set up pucks for your D, make some stretch passes every once in a while, and just be there to help your defense. So I think it's a pretty big thing, and you just really got to focus on it and dial in.
Yeah, I can't say I agree, because I don't know about that, because I'm not a goalie. So
I'm not good enough at that to place any comment.
no comment. Yeah, man. Well, I really do appreciate you coming on. If we're just gonna kind of wrap it up right now. If you would like to, we're gonna throw you back down into the green room and say bye to everybody. If you'd like to stick around and chat for a little bit after, we can talk about that. But is there anything you would like to say to our viewers before you leave?
Thanks for tuning in, guys. And the Splitting Twigs crew. Sorry.
No worries.
Thank you very much for having me. It was an awesome time, and you guys were awesome.
Of course, we'd absolutely love to have you back, man.
100%. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much. Ollie, so I see you were choking a little bit in there.
This is my first time. Give me a break.
I know, I'm just playing, man. We got to have you back again. That was really fun.
That was awesome.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Splitting Twigs podcast. I don't know who we're coming on next, but I will make sure to do my research beforehand. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for tuning in with Ben Gaudreau on episode 22. I will see you guys later. Toodaloo. That's your